Hi everyone, and welcome to this new exploration. Today, we're putting on our virtual lab coats and heading straight into our digital laboratory. We're joined by our two little lemurs to guide us, and our mission for today, believe me, is absolutely insane. We're going to learn how to build our own custom artificial intelligence agents from A to Z using the French technology Mistral. Let's get started. All right, let's dive straight into the heart of the matter. Just imagine for a moment, instead of just chatting with a machine to ask it super basic questions, the user ends up with a real proactive digital intern, an assistant that does research on its own, organizes a schedule, drafts documents, and carries out highly repetitive tasks all by itself throughout the week. Well, that's exactly the incredible promise of AI agents that we're going to explore together today. So, the first crucial step, understanding the real difference between a simple chatbot and a true AI agent. And this perfectly illustrates that major evolution. On one side, we have the classic chatbot. Basically, it's kind of like a super smart encyclopedia, but static. You ask a question, it generates a response, and bam, the interaction ends there. But on the other hand, the true AI agent is like that famous proactive intern. It can reason, use external tools, follow a step-by-step plan, and above all, automate real actions in the real world. That changes absolutely everything. If we look at Mistral's official definition, it's crystal clear. An AI agent is above all an autonomous system. In fact, when you give an artificial intelligence, which is already powered by incredibly strong language models, not just text, but targeted instructions, real memory, and reasoning abilities, well, you completely transform the way you work with it. It's a real game changer. To really understand how it works under the hood, you have to look at what's called the agentic flow or the REACT loop, which stands for reasoning and actions. It's fascinating. The user sends their initial instruction, the prompt. The AI receives that, thinks about the problem, decides on its own to trigger an external tool to look for the solution, analyzes the result it gets, and finally formulates its final answer. It's a real multi-step process, and it's incredibly effective. We're moving up to the next level. Let's take a look at how this agent's brain and memory work. Tech experts say it all the time. Without memory, an AI is nothing more than a goldfish. It starts from scratch with every new message. So, short-term memory is just the ongoing conversation, limited by what's called the context window. But the real revolution is long-term memory. By using highly specialized databases, the agent saves a persistent state. As a result, it remembers preferences, previous interactions, and never makes the same mistakes from one session to the next. Now that we've covered the basics, let's move on to practice. We're going to create an agent directly on Mistral. But before we get started, let's take a quick look at the available tools. On one hand, we have solutions like Gemini. It's incredibly powerful, highly multimodal, but it's closely tied to Google's closed ecosystem. On the other hand, the Mistral platform offers a truly different approach. It's an extremely flexible solution, very open and highly customizable. Honestly, for learning and keeping full control over what you create, it's absolutely perfect. And you'll see, the Mistral console interface makes creation surprisingly simple. No need to be a coding pro, it can be done in just 5 quick steps. You open the web console, click to create the agent, give it a nice little name and a description. Then comes the crucial step. You write its system instructions, then adjust its temperature, and bam! With a single click, you can deploy it directly in the chat window. The agent comes to life instantly. Let's zoom in a bit on the core of the reactor, prompting, and how to adjust our agent's attitude. This is the famous system prompt that all developers talk about. Imagine it's a super detailed character sheet for a movie actor. If you give vague instructions, the agent will improvise very poorly. On the other hand, if you define its role very precisely, the strict rules it must follow, and even the exact visual format you expect from it, then its performance becomes incredibly sharp and professional. And here's a really interesting detail. This simple little number, 0.7. It's the magic setting that appears by default when you create an agent. And believe me, it has an absolutely massive impact on the final result. This number is the temperature. Basically, it's a creativity slider that goes from 0 to 1. If you set it close to 0, the agent becomes ultra-analytical, very factual, and predictable. Perfect for math or code. If you push it towards 1, it becomes super creative, but be careful. It might go off in all directions and start making things up. So that famous 0.7 is really the perfect balance. It gives it enough freedom to express itself naturally without ever going off topic. All right, let's kick things up a notch with workflows and automated tools. The great thing about Mistral is that it directly integrates fantastic tools that you can activate with just one click. And that's where the magic happens. Suddenly, the agent goes from being a simple text generator to a real researcher who browses the web. It becomes a developer who runs scripts, an illustrator who generates images, or even an analyst capable of reading and breaking down entire libraries of PDF files. But wait, to go even further, there's really the ultimate superpower. It's called function calling. It's literally the agent's ability to connect on its own to external APIs. Instead of waiting for a human to click, the agent can itself query a weather database, check if a payment has gone through, or even trigger an action in another application completely autonomously. It's crazy, isn't it? All right, to make all this super concrete, let's look at some examples of agents for everyday life. The goal of these technologies is really to eliminate headaches and repetitive tasks from our daily lives. Whether you're in middle school, high school, or college, it's super easy to build yourself a personal assistant to help with studying, or a research agent to prepare an awesome presentation, a planner to organize a busy week of classes, or even an assistant to write social media posts with exactly the right tone. Anything is possible. Here's a super popular use case, the article summarizer. The concept is ultra simple. You set up a prompt with a strict format, activate the web search tool, and voila! The agent will take any huge, hard-to-digest web page and instantly turn it into a clear, concise summary with easy-to-read bullet points. That's literally hours of reading saved for your research. Another really cool example, especially if you're into coding, is the code documenter. Imagine you've written a super complex function in JavaScript, but you couldn't be bothered to add comments. You paste it into the interface, the agent analyzes it, understands all the logic behind it, and instantly generates perfect documentation. It's exactly like having a programmer friend who's always available to handle the tedious tasks for you. And there you have it, the mechanics, the importance of memory, the settings to boost creativity, and the power of automated tools. All of that is no longer a mystery to you. The Mistral console is here, just waiting for you. So now that the keys to the digital lab are in your hands and you've understood that an agent isn't just a basic little chatbot, the big question is, what custom agent are you going to build today to transform your daily life? Let your creativity run wild, try out lots of things, and I'll see you very soon for another exploration.